This is
Player 1, the Switzerland of America and the highest state. The correct response is Colorado. Choose again. A condor is a type of this bird. It's related to the turkey type and also enjoys eating carrion. Here's what we wanted. The vulture. We return.
Woo!
Answer, the Daily Double. And you have the lead. Here is your clue. The Jews held these people in low esteem, so they're made to look good in Luke. Yes. You get to... The Braves spent 82 seasons in Boston and more than 40 in Atlanta, with a 13-season stop in this city. Here's the correct response. Milwaukee. Select again. In 1955, the Philadelphia Athletics moved to this city, where they remained for 13 seasons. Here's the response we were looking for. Kansas City. Player 1. Scientists are scrambling to find out the cause of colony collapse disorder, which is occurring with this insect. Here's the correct response. Bees. Select again. Upon its 1914 completion, this shortened a ship's voyage between New York City and San Francisco by about 8,000 miles. Here's what we wanted. The Panama Canal. Player 1. Looking like it's going to get the boot and covering nearly 10,000 square miles, it's the largest island in the Mediterranean. We're talking about Sicily. We return to you, Player 1. The plains variety of this animal has gray markings that are known as shadow stripes. Here's the correct response. The zebra. Choose again, Player 1. In 1972, the new Washington Senators moved west and became this team. Here's what we were looking for. The Texas Rangers. You get to pick, and I'll hand it off to Kelly.
Though it's called the Star-Spangled Banner State, this is its flag.
The correct response is Maryland. Please pick again. The coal state and the birth state of the nation. Here's the correct response. Pennsylvania. Player 1. Take me to your lemur. This island country lies about 240 miles east of the African mainland. We're talking about Madagascar. You again, Player 1. Wellington is its capital. Here's what we were looking for. New Zealand. Player 1. Portland, Salem, and Eugene are the largest cities in this state. Here's the correct response. Oregon. Select again. The birthplace of 8 presidents. The correct response is Virginia. Player 1. Back to Seward's Icebox. Here's what we wanted. Alaska. You again, Player 1. A short race at full speed. Here's the response we were looking for. A sprint. Player 1. To look with the eyes partly closed. Here's the correct response. To squint. Player 1. Pick again. 5-letter word for gleaming brightness or luster. Here's what we wanted. Glint. We return to a thin piece of rigid material to maintain a body part in a fixed position. Here's what we were looking for. A splint. Please pick again. Hue or dye. The correct response is a tint. You get to pick again, Player 1. Here's Kelly. She'll show you.
The giant panda seen here isn't playing the flute. He's snacking on this, his favorite food.
We're talking about bamboo. Player 1. Get along, little this. The word for a motherless calf. Here's the response we were looking for. A dogie. Choose again, Player 1. In 1958, the Dodgers and this team moved west to California. Here's the correct response. The Giants. Player 1. After the 1960 season, the Washington Senators left the capital and headed west to this town. The correct response is Minneapolis. Player 1. The first and second of these books cover the same period as 2 Samuel and 1 and 2 Kings. Here's what we were looking for. Chronicles. Please pick again, player 1. In Luke, Jesus is tried both by Herod and by this Roman governor. Here's the correct response. Pilate. Select again. When the Jews of Persia are ordered killed, Mordecai puts on sackcloth accessorized with these. We're talking about ashes. And we'll wrap up the board with this clue. As Rachel died bearing him, she called him Benoni, son of my suffering. His father Jacob used this name. Here's what we wanted. Benjamin. The Double Jeopardy round will begin right after this. Let's get back into the... In 1860, he got 12 electoral votes, but you got the job. Feel free to debate. Here's the response we were looking for. Stephen Douglas. This Louise Fitzhugh lass spies on her classmates and writes about them in her secret notebook. Here's the correct response. Harriet. Choose again. You said of this general, I can't spare this man, he fights. He sure seems to be enjoying the green room. It's... Here's what we wanted. Ulysses Grant. We return to... Answer. The first of the daily doubles. You are currently in the lead. The clue. Mississippi and it have the shortest coasts on the Gulf of Mexico, only about 50 miles apiece. Correct. Player 1. In the 18th century BC, he wrote down his famous list of do's and don'ts. Here's what we were looking for. Hammurabi. You again, player 1. Tears were shed when the Teddy Bear Museum in Naples in this state closed its doors forever in 2005. Here's the response we were looking for. Florida. Player 1. When a tiny parasite enters an oyster's shell, mantle cells cover it with nacre until this is formed. Here's the correct response. A pearl. Select again. This plant grows as a parasite on apple tree trunks, blooms in February and March, yet still is a factor in Christmas kisses. Here's the correct response. Mistletoe. Player 1. PSI is a charity delivering nets to fight this parasite-caused disease that kills 3,000 African children a day. The correct response is malaria. Player 1, you can vent this soft ductless organ that fights infection with parasite detection. We're talking about the spleen. You again, player 1. Closely related to meningitis, this inflammation of the brain can result from viral infections or tiny parasites. Here's the correct response. Encephalitis. Player 1. In 1870, Congress granted her an annual pension of $3,000. Call her Sugar Mama or simply your wife. We're talking about Mary Lincoln. Please pick again. On January 10th, 2010, this island republic was struck by a devastating earthquake. Here's the response we were looking for. Haiti. We return to you. 45 years before Disney, Jean Cocteau made a live-action version of this film with Josette Day as Belle. Here's the correct response. Beauty and the Beast. Choose again, player 1. This 2001 title role was meant for Emily Watson, but she didn't speak French. Audrey Tautou got the part. The correct response is Amélie. You get to pick again. Olympic event won twice by Jackie Joyner Kersee. Here's what we were looking for. The heptathlon. Player 1. This star of Chocolat and The English Patient made her film debut in the 1982 French film Liberty Bell. Here's what we wanted. Juliette Binoche. You again, Player 1. In 1956, Roger Vadim directed his first film, And God Created Woman, which starred this actress, his then wife. We're talking about Brigitte Bardot. Choose again, Player 1.
Yeah!
Answer, the second Daily Double. And you're in the lead now. You need to select your wager. All right, here's your clue. Used in marching bands, it's a large bass tuba that encircles the player's body. Sorry, that's wrong. Here's what we were looking for. The helicon. Player 1. It's the HT in HTTP and HTML. Here's what we wanted. Hypertext. Player 1. This director, son of a famous Impressionist painter, is perhaps best known for his 1937 film, Grand Illusion. Here's the response we were looking for. Jean Renoir. Please pick again, Player 1. Leroy Brown is the real name of the boy detective with this bookish nickname. The correct response is Encyclopedia. Player 1, Secretary of War for Franklin Pierce. Some called him Mr. President, though certainly not you. Say hello to... Here's the correct response. Jefferson Davis. Player 1, you pick again, please. A game of hide and seek leads Peter, Susan, Edmund, and Lucy into this land that's always winter and never Christmas. Here's the correct response. Narnia. We return to you. You said if this general is not using the army, I should like to borrow it for a while. Say hello to... The correct response is George McClellan. You get to pick with a population of about 120,000, Columbia is this state's most populous city. Here's the correct response. South Carolina. Select again. Kelly will present this clue.
This state's flag featuring the Big Dipper was designed by a 13-year-old Aleut boy.
Here's the correct response. Alaska. Choose again, Player 1. This state has the highest average altitude of any state east of the Mississippi. Must be pretty mountainous. Here's the response we were looking for. West Virginia. Player 1. In a Francis Hodgson Burnett tale, Mary Lennox tends to the secret this. Here's what we wanted. Garden. And now the $2,000 clue. This Kipling lad goes on a Himalayan journey with a Tibetan Lama. We're talking about Kim. This takes us to our first break. Looks like none of you will be progressing to Final Jeopardy. Sorry, folks.